is something we've been very excited about for a few months now. This service is not just, you see the youth worship team up here, but this is not just a student ministry function. This is a service where the student ministry from Centenary Church is partnering with Centenary's Standiford Elementary School partnership. We got a lot of exciting ideas that we're really happy to share with you today, but for today, as always, we just want to start this time together because we are the family of God together in the presence of God. There's no better way for us to do that than to start together this morning with a time of worship. You might have noticed passing some earplugs on the way in. Don't be shy about using them. Like, we won't be offended. So please use those if you like. If any of you did bring school supplies today for the Pack to School drive, and if those are in your cars or whatever, please, again, we won't be offended. Sneak out and get them now because the folks in the Fellowship Center need them as quickly as possible. And you can just leave them in the back of the sanctuary in the baskets. But yes, also, please note that you're going to hear more about this later, but this service doesn't end when we leave this building today. We are considering the backpack supplies, the Pack to School drive, as a vital and significant part of this worship service. So please don't think that when we're done in this room that we're done with church today, because that's a very significant part of it. And don't take off too quickly after that either, because there will be food after that. Delicious school lunch. Let's start a time of worship with a little bit of prayer this morning. Please bow with me. Jesus, thank you so much that you are in this place. Father, thank you for the student ministry of this church, for what I get to see firsthand, these amazing 6th through 12th graders that you've allowed us to share life with, God. For the special times that happen all throughout the year, for these few precious years that we get to be with these students, God. Thank you that the congregation at large has a chance to witness that today, Father. And I pray that you would just communicate to them as strongly as you've communicated to me how vital these years are that we have with these students and what a blessing they are. Father, thank you for this time of worship ahead of us. I pray that everyone in this building, that we would be united by our desire to see you in your glory today, a desire to give you the praise and honor and glory that you deserve in this place, Father. May this worship not be an expression of the youth on stage or the congregation in the pews, God, but just be an expression of the shared quantity of Christ in all of us. I love you, Jesus. Thank you for being our good and wonderful Father. Amen. Please stand with us.
Now
you what I share with the students on Wednesday nights when we play. This is a song based on the book of Revelation, on the Apostle John and what he saw when he was granted his vision of heaven by God. He witnessed all these remarkable and terrifying things, these great beasts and creatures with multiple heads and wings. He saw a great company of saints circled around a throne, laying down crowns on the floor. I personally feel, I have no theology to back this up, but I personally feel he didn't know exactly what he was looking at. Because, I mean, who has the mental capacity to comprehend heaven, a vision of heaven? But one thing that I do see very clearly coming across in the book of Revelation, which comes across in this song, is the purpose of all of those things, what those things are devoted towards. All these things in heaven are circled around Christ. They witness Christ. And no matter whether it's a great creature or an angel or a saint with a crown of glory, they recognize that this Christ is greater than themselves. And so they see no greater purpose for themselves than to circle around Him and focus on Him in worship. It's very important to remember that John the Revelator was present at the cross when Christ died. The last time, not the last time, but a very vivid memory in his mind was seeing Christ humiliated and broken and bleeding. And now he sees Him glorified. So when we talk to our students about this song, we try to say, don't try to understand all that stuff, but recognize its purpose. Those things are gathered to worship Christ because He is greater. We here this morning in this place are gathered to worship Christ because He is greater. We have come as one heart, as one voice, to join in heaven's endless song. On the earth, lifting our adoration towards Your throne. Praises rise, songs of love are now ascending for the King, for the Lamb who gave His life
know this service as our Student Sunday service, and we wanted to take a different approach to this year's Student Sunday service. This year, we're talking about this concept of a countdown, this idea that we have a window of opportunity with people that is sometimes it seems like forever, like if you're married, or sometimes it is really short, and sometimes that really short period of time is 6 years, or 7 years, or 2 years, or 1 month, or 1 week. We're talking about this idea of a limited time that we have with people, that we have with each other, and how we want to take advantage of that. And how, with the student ministry, is partnering with the Stanford School, and we're getting this ministry opportunity out there, this idea that we have an opportunity, a window of opportunity with people that aren't a part of this church, that maybe have never heard of the gospel of Jesus before. And so that's what the service is about. There are no announcements. There is not a message. We are communicating this point, this idea, through numerous speakers and through an activity we're going to do at the end. So thank you for coming today. If the ushers would come on forward, we are going to take today's offering, and I'm going to pray for us. Father, I thank you for all of the people here today. I pray, Holy Spirit, that this time be devoted to you. I pray that that we experience your presence here today, and that whatever you want with our lives, we will grow from, we will learn from, and that we will experience just being in your presence and growing with you and growing in you. And I pray that this offering, Father, is an act of faith in you, an act of trust in you, and an act of just giving you back what's yours and giving you back what you've provided for us. So we thank you for all you've given us, and may this offering honor your name. In your Son's name, amen.
There's no possible other way to sum up what a blessing it's been to have had so much weekly contact with so many of these students for several years. Any summary would be grossly inadequate, so that's what we're calling this section anymore. We're just calling it Senior Moments. We have to say goodbye to some of these folks soon, folks that we've been with for a long time. And today we're just going to share moments about them because there's no summary that's possible. Please know that there were hundreds more. And unfortunately, actually, our first senior, I didn't know would be here today. Hi, Kaylee. I didn't see Kaylee. I haven't seen you in a while. So you're here today. So I'm sorry, there's no pictures of you on the screen. You might find that to be a blessing because I think the others would be embarrassed. But I do want to share one moment that I really enjoyed from Kaylee back in the day. I've always had great trouble remembering students' names, so I've invented games where they have to know each other's names, so I have an excuse to have them say their names out loud. One of the ways that helps me remember a student's name is by asking them for what their nicknames are, just, that cross-association or whatever you want to call it. Kaylee's nickname that she shared with me way back in the day it's kind of like having a scratch on the roof of your mouth that would heal if you could only stop touching it with your tongue, because her nickname is KK. And Kaylee, you're great, but I hate that nickname. But I can't stop saying it. So every time, ever since that first time in 7th grade, when I see Kaylee, I want to go, KK! So yeah, that's my Kaylee memory. Okay, so sorry there's no pictures of you. But the first person you'll see pictures of is little Danica Bell. I know, right? So I teach music lessons here to the students at the church, and one of my first few students was Danica Bell. It was very on in her middle school career. She said she wanted to get involved playing percussion. I told her what I told all of my students, what I always constantly tell all my students. It's not always a fun reality, but you will never improve in music if you don't practice. Danica annoyed me a great deal by being the only student to constantly prove me wrong. She didn't just join the team, she excelled. I still marvel when I watch her play. We've got one more song today. Take a moment and watch Danica, because this is what you'll see. No pressure. She's constantly in motion. It's mesmerizing when I watch her do it, and it annoys me because she got that way without practicing. Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing. I want to share another story about Danica, one that I've always kind of treasured. Danica was a student that was constantly inviting friends all the time. Wednesday nights in her middle school years were just a rotating door of kids that were at this church. Some of them that made commitments and stayed long-term at this church because Danica brought them here. It was kind of a middle school renaissance for that group. And from what I could tell, she was the catalyst. And I've always been very grateful for that.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, so where's Sydney? Sydney, where are you? Hi, come here. So I was asked to share a story about Sydney. This is Sydney. Everyone say hi. Hi, Sydney. Sydney, say hi.
Hi, church.
Okay. Hey, so I just want to share a story about Sydney. She's graduated and whatnot. So I meet almost all of the youth when they enter into youth group in 6th grade. But that is not how I met Sydney. Sydney I met during Vacation Bible School, when she was 5, maybe 6 at the oldest, and it was time to do, I was doing like the drama Bible study over there, and I was supposed to be this Roman soldier with the helmet and the armor and a sword, and the script called for me to jump out with my sword and roar at them as they were praying, because I was arresting them for being Christians. It was like a time warp thing. And here comes the preschool or kindergarten class coming in, and they're all, happy to be at Vacation Bible School. Yay, Vacation Bible School. And then they prayed, and then the scripts followed the script. I said, ah! And Sydney, who I met for the first time at that moment, screamed, cried, ran out of the room, and then refused to come back in the room the rest of the week.
That's right, I scarred people at church. It wasn't the only time. So that was my meeting, my initial meeting of Sydney. But I tell you what, I was privileged to watch her, of course, grow up and join the youth group and have great many years. I think my fondest memory is always going to be, we always had these opportunities for the youth to go on mission trips with royal servants. And so it usually would send one or two of them out across the waters, and they would go teach and preach and minister and witness. But it was always usually like the juniors and the seniors, you know, the older ones. And I remember one year, I can't remember what year it is, they all run together, but I remember Sydney had just graduated junior high school. And she came up to me at the end of this youth group and said, I would like to go to Costa Rica, right, and do part of their soccer ministry and tell people about Jesus. And I was like, well, you just finished junior high. It's supposed to be the juniors and seniors. But she was so dedicated, so determined that guess who went to Costa Rica and the soccer ministry and witnessed it. So that's always something I'm going to hold dear, and I can't wait to see what's next. And the very last thing, which is why I would like you up here, is Sydney also taught me the proper pose to take pictures with. And it's like, hold this way. It's like this.
Well, now we gotta get a picture, so do your pose. Alright, so I have the privilege of honoring Mahalia. Mahalia Freer. She is new to our church. She has been here for a little under 2 years now. And she has been a very active part since moving from Illinois. And that's a picture of younger Mahalia. Like I said, we've had her for the past 2 years, so I don't necessarily have any child moments, but I do have the moment we first met. She came in, I had the hardest time, I have a hard time with normal names, like, you know, with Bob or with Ben. We have lots of those at this church, by the way. But, apparently too many. But Mahalia, it was a name that I had to wrestle with for a long time. But anyway, the point is, she came in and she fit right in with the group. I mean, she loved board games. She loved just sitting down and hanging, so she already meshed in really well. And one of the games she happens to really like is a game called Blockus. And if you've never played Blockus before, it's a game where you're fighting for as much of the board as possible. And there are certain rules to place pieces. And when I asked Mahalia to play, she said yes, and I was thinking, oh, she has no idea what's going to hit her. I am going to teach her how to play this game, all right? I am going to play a game she'll never forget because I'm going to dominate. That's how I go into board games. I don't play, oh, I'm going to let the newbie win. I don't do that. So I was thinking like that with Mahalia, and we started playing the game, and I started making my moves, and I could tell just by looking at her how focused she was. She just gets this look, and she puts her hand on her chin, and she looks, takes a piece, places it, and I'm like, okay, all right, well, she's putting thought into it, that's good. And it turns out that she ended up whooping me. I was like the second person out that game, and I was like, what happened? And I realized how savage she was at that game. Like, she was just cutthroat the entire time, blocking me piece after piece, and I was like, oh man. And Mahalia isn't as cutthroat as she is at board games, but what I noticed about Mahalia, and it's something that's stood true today, is that she's very focused, and she's turned this focus into passion, and this passion into loving other people and loving God. And that's something, I don't have one moment in particular that stands out more than the others, but there are several, including her and her boyfriend wanting to talk with Melissa and I about dating advice. She cares so much because she's focused. She cares so much about all these different things in life, including her relationship. And during the message, she gave me the same board game look during my message. You could tell she was focused. You could tell she was trying to learn and glean as much as she can from the Bible. Mahalia, you've got a bright future ahead of you, and I'm glad you're as focused and keen as you are, and that's going to serve you really well in the future. So thank you for being involved.
6 years ago. And like most junior hires, he was young, a little awkward, and wasn't sure who he was. He'd go around introducing himself as Seth, Braden's little cousin. 6 years later, he's a much taller young man and has grown into a remarkable young man. Quite sure of who he is, and he's been a leader this past year in our group and has taken time to encourage the junior hires during games while hitting them in the face with dodgeballs, and still high-fiving them afterwards. And this past winter retreat in February, I saw a lot of growth in Seth. He made a commitment to continue to follow God with his life and in all of his relationships.
So our last senior today is Alyssa. Much like Mahalia, we didn't get to know Alyssa in middle school. We didn't get to know her until she was a sophomore? Sophomore in high school?
Freshman.
Freshman. Oh, wow. Okay. The most distinct thing I knew about her at the time when I met her was that she did not want to come to youth group. I would see her on the patio at Fellowship arguing on Sunday mornings with her aunt, Melanie Hildebrand, and it was just sort of, there'd be arms folded on both sides, and we will give it a try. We'll go over there to the high school room and give it a try. Go over there, Aunt Mel. And fast forward a few months, and she just very quickly became, from what I can tell, just a key member of the group. A few months more, she starts coming to worship team rehearsals. And as you can see now, she's become a vital member of our worship team. For those of you that normally attend at 10:30, you might just assume she's on the high school worship team, but she also sings in here on a lot of Sunday mornings for the 9 a.m. service. I would say she's become irreplaceable, except as she leaves for Sonoma State in a few weeks, I have to grapple with the very real task of leading worship at this church without her. And it's not just her talents that will be missed, it's her heart. And I want to share with you a little bit of her heart, which I did not ask permission to share today. I'm going to do it. We frequently ask some of the students on our worship team to introduce the songs on Wednesday nights, to give their insight. Because the students on Wednesday nights are constantly hearing what Buddy and I reflect on in the songs, what we get out of the songs. And we want to open that up to more perspectives of worship. So I asked Alyssa to introduce a song, and this is what she wrote for actually the song she just finished singing up here a few minutes ago. The song is You Won't Relent. She says, the song begins with, you won't relent until you have it all. My heart is yours. And even just that singular line speaks volumes to me. For the longest time, I felt that I had nobody in the world, that nobody actually cared about me. When I sing that line, my heart races and I become overjoyed because God loves me. He has my heart. He cherishes me, and He won't relent. So thank you for sharing a few moments with our seniors over the years. And we're going to miss them a lot. About 2 months ago, this is transitioned to a different thing, I sat down with Deanna Hutton, a member of the planning team for St. Mary's Standiford Elementary Partnership. And she laid out this master plan for that partnership with the school that I had been totally unaware of. The more she spoke, the more excited I became about what this partnership could mean for the students and faculty of Standiford Elementary, but also what it could mean for us here at St. Mary. I heard about the reading partners and the backpacks and the field day already, but what I hadn't understood was how each of those individual things fit into this much larger strategy. And seeing more of the master plan unfolded, each item, each interaction with a student, each donated crayon box became more significant and meaningful. I got very excited. I want you to gain access to that same insight. So Cindy Duenas is here to speak to us today because she knows a lot more about it than me.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. I just came back from vacation and you set me up here. Actually, yes, and I did. I fell for it. It's really nice to be in front of all of you as one big church family, because as I was reflecting on what I wanted to say today about Centenary, I kept reflecting back on my time here as part of this church family. And I have been privileged to be part of this family for over 30 years. I came here in 1985. And through those years, I have worshiped with you, I have eaten dinner with you, I have sold things at a rummage sale, I've studied and learned, I've grown and become the Christian I am today in my faith walk through being part of a community of love in Christ. And that's what we have here at Centenary. How many of you feel like you're part of that community? All right, awesome. So when I reflect on what the disciples told the early church was that we are to create those communities of love and faith because they support and build us up as Christians, right? They help us develop and mature and walk the walk that Christ has commissioned us to walk as a family. And so that's not the end of what Christ asked us to do. He asked us to love Him with our whole heart and being, and then He asked us to love others the same way He loves us. That's a huge, huge ask, right? And so we need our church community as a foundation for that, for us to know how to go out and be Christ in the world. But we also need to go beyond the walls of this campus to reach others, and we all need to have that strong heart that we want what Christ wants. We want everyone out there to have what we have here, right? This isn't an exclusive club. This is our job as part of the body of Christ to grow the body, to bring more people into that fold. And so when Deanna and Ben asked me to talk a little bit about what the Standiford Partnership really represents for me, it represents our job as Christians to make sure that every child that lives in this neighborhood and their parents and those teachers and those administrators at that school know what we have here, this super secret, wonderful Christian family that we have here. We should want every single one of those people sitting in these pews loving and experiencing so that we can love on them like we love on each other. And so that's the big picture behind the activities that we're planning to do with Standiford. It's about being Christ in the community. It's about making sure everybody in those houses over there is prayed for on a regular basis. And that we're not going to go there and evangelize. We're not going to be, it's a secular church or school. We're not going to be able to do that. But that we will be Christ through the way our actions, our love, our giving, our caring, our time, our talents, our treasures, that we become part of that community and bring that community into our community through this work that we're going to be doing with Standiford. So what does that mean for each of you in this room? Well, first of all, we're asking all of you to be praying for all of the people who live in this neighborhood and go to that school. Be a regular prayer warrior for the families. Lift them up. Ask God to use us as He wants to impact their lives, whatever that might be. We don't know what really is going to unfold as we start this partnership with this school. And as you pray, I would also ask you to pray, what is it what's my spiritual gift? What's my way that I connect to this partnership, to this relationship we're going to develop with this school? For some of you, that might mean that you're going to be a prayer warrior, that you're going to commit to praying on a regular basis for those families and those children. And that may be where it stops for you because that's your gift. For some of you, it might be that you want to volunteer, that you're feeling called to go into a classroom, support a teacher, however he or she might want you to support. It might be that you're reading to a kid. It might be that you're cutting out handouts, or I don't know what teachers need. But it's a regular commitment to volunteer in a classroom. For some of you, it might be signing up for the Love Modesto or the one-day cleanups or activities we do at the school. And that's the commitment that you can make. For others of you, it might be that you want to commit financially to supporting this particular ministry, so that if we have down the road an adopt a program at Christmas for a family, that you might want to support that. Or there may be a family that has a particular need that the school identifies, like fixing a washing machine so that those kids can get to school with clean clothes. That might be your gift that you want to give. As these opportunities unfold, we'll be sharing them with you as a congregation, and we want you to be praying constantly for those kind of opportunities. For some of you, it might be volunteering at the once-a-month family dinner and parent cafe we're going to be doing at the school. You could help Deanna prep for the dinner. You could help serve the dinner. Or you could just come and participate with the families in conversations about parenting. I see some very seasoned grandparents, parents, young parents in this room who have lots of wisdom about what it takes to raise a healthy and well child. And there are families over there that really could draw on that wisdom. And these are simple conversations with parents. It's not like you have to have a curriculum or a degree to be able to talk about what you know about being a parent to support those kids. So those are just some of the ways that we're beginning this relationship with Standiford. But I wanted to make sure that you saw that the bigger overarching picture is that this isn't just like an add-on to the church. This is our job as the church. These pews should be full, both services. And there are people down there, 3 blocks away, that don't know that this is a church, that this facility is a church. So we want to make sure that everybody there knows and has the opportunity to grow and love Christ the way we do here at Centenary. I think most of you may have heard when Pastor Bob talked, but half of the kids who signed up for VBS this year, Vacation Bible School, were Standiford Elementary kids. That's significant. That's a beginning point. And so that's the future of our church, is to be an outward-focused church and to reach out into our neighborhood, our community. We can still support missions in Africa and all over the world, but we have a mission field right here, and together we can make a difference. Will you just bow with me for a moment of prayer? Father God, we just thank you so much for this wonderful church family and community that you've given us, and where we've grown as Christians and we've learned what it means to love you fully. And now we just ask that you will go with us as we reach out to your community, your neighbors, your families, right here in this community. And that you will help us to show your love for your people through our actions, through our words, through the relationships we form with these families, these teachers, these administrators. We do this thanking you in advance for the wonderful work you're going to do, and giving you all the glory for everything that will happen. In your name, we pray, Jesus. Amen.
From
worship. Thank you, guys. So this last part, or the second to last part of the service, we're calling, it's our problem. It's basically based off of what this countdown service is based off of, and it's called the lie of later. And the lie of later is this idea that we'll have time to reach out to someone, we'll have time to serve someone. Well, there is a time later on for that. I can wait. I'll wait for a better time. I'll wait till I'm less busy. I'll wait till the student's a little bit older. I'll wait until. And this for me has actually been something, this has actually hit home for me. And this is actually, and Ben coined this problem. And when I heard the lie of later, it reminded me of something that happened last year. In Modesto, we just had this Miracle League open up. And if you're not familiar with the Miracle League, it's a softball league. And it's baseball for handicapped kids. It's not a Christian-run organization, to my knowledge. But it's an opportunity for people around the city to come and help these kids play baseball. These handicapped kids who otherwise, without the help, couldn't play baseball. And I was bent on doing this. I really wanted to do it, but then life started to pick up, it got busy, and I decided not to do it. And for me, the reason why it still kind of hits home for me is that's one person, that's one family that I could have been the hands and feet of Jesus to. It's one person that I could have represented Jesus to, his love and truth, and possibly even presented the gospel to them that maybe has never heard it before. And it's an opportunity lost. That was last season. Now there's other seasons that will happen, and now I'll be able to do it. But for me, it was a missed opportunity. For all I know, the person I would have been paired with won't be back. I had a chance to represent Jesus to someone, and I messed up. I missed out on that opportunity. So this lie of later, this lie that this opportunity to be around someone, to serve someone, will always be there, because it won't. These students are a great example. The seniors that we just took a couple of minutes of time in the service to go and talk about are a great example about this lie of later. Some of them have been here as many as 7, maybe even longer years. Others as short as 2 years. And after 7 years of being here, they're already moving on. Most of them are going away. They're going out of town to college. And they won't be here anymore. And that opportunity to reach out to them, that opportunity to just be around them, to be the hands and feet of Jesus to them, will no longer be there. They'll be somewhere else, and it'll be someone else's job to be with them. It'll be someone else's job to represent God's love to them. But that's how fast this lie of later works. I believe it's, what is his name? He's part of Parliament. Edmund Burke. He had this famous quote that's frequently used, but I think rings true, especially for the lie of later. It's the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men and women to do nothing. When good people, when people that represent Jesus decide to do nothing, to wait for later, evil triumphs. For all we know, and by the way, we introduced 6 seniors for the senior moment. There were others that could have been seniors that could have graduated from here that didn't. And maybe they were here 1 week and then they left. We have 1 week to work with people. Sometimes it's not even a week. Sometimes it's just a day. Sometimes it's an hour. These kids at Stanford Elementary, who knows how long they're going to be there? Who knows how long they're going to be 3 blocks away from us? Because just like these seniors demonstrated, time flies by fast. And these kids that we have an opportunity to represent Jesus to will not always be there. This problem is not without a solution, though. Before I get to my first bullet point, the first thing that comes to mind is Jesus' words to the disciples before he ascended into heaven. And that's, go, make disciples of all the nations. It isn't, stay, wait for the time to be right. No, it's action, it's go, it's do now. Don't wait, go. Make disciples. That's what we are called to do as the body of Christ. Ephesians 4:11-12 says, so Christ himself gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, and teachers to equip the saints for the works of service so that the body of Christ may be built up. God is, like Cindy said, God has given you numerous gifts, whether you're a prayer warrior, whether you're someone who loves to share the gospel with people, whether you're someone that loves to serve people, whether you're someone that likes to encourage other people, to shepherd someone, whatever that may be, whatever that gifting may look like, Jesus has given you gifts. Gifts that aren't meant to just be held to yourself, gifts that are meant to be used, that are meant to be shared with others. You are meant to be an ambassador, a representative of Jesus, to build up the church, so that others may know his love and the hope and truth that comes with it. What is our part? Our part is to use these gifts that Jesus has given us and to go out and be with people as representatives of Jesus. Problem, solution, your part. The problem, live later. The solution, use your gifts. And your part, like Cindy mentioned, pray about it. And don't just pray, act. Jesus doesn't say just pray and wait and then decide if you're going to do it. Act in some way, whether it's prayer, whether it's something behind the scenes, whether maybe you can't go onto the campus, maybe you can't. Well, you guys know the ministry opportunities here. There are so many. You want ministry opportunities? Talk with me, talk with Heather, talk with Bob, talk with Brian, with Ben. There's so many ministry opportunities on this campus. There are opportunities to be with people, to be a representative of Jesus to people. Don't passively wait. Your part is to go, to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." God has so much in store for you. I know life gets busy. It did for me, and I made an excuse. I didn't get involved when I could have with the Miracle League. There's an opportunity now with a school of people 3 blocks away that maybe have never heard or seen the message of Jesus before, the truth in Jesus, the love of Jesus before. And that opportunity may not come again for some of those people. So take advantage of it now. The window is there. It may not be back. Mahalia is going to close us out in a commissioning for our backpack dedication is what I'm calling it. So Mahalia, thank you.
Hello, okay, this is working. So that really is a great message because it's true. We never know how long we'll have the people that God has placed in our lives, and we never know if they'll be here one day and gone the next. All we can do is make the most of the time we have with them. And because sometimes we think that we have plenty of opportunities, that there'll be time later on down the road. There'll be time later on down the road. There'll be opportunities to talk with this person, to connect. But that's not always the case, because life likes to surprise us. And, well, it's just, for all we know, there may be one Wednesday left with someone from youth group, or 1 week left with the kids from Stanford School. We just sometimes have one chance left and we don't know it. And that's why it's amazing that this church is doing the backpack project today. It's just to have this opportunity to connect with these children and just to maybe influence them in a good way that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. We'll be doing that today in the Fellowship Center. It's going to be so much fun just to go in there and fill up these supplies. But my favorite part of the project that we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking these little notes of encouragement, and just while we're writing those out, just because, well, sometimes you think it's just a small thing, like a couple words to a kid that they'll just throw away, but it's not always the case. Sometimes just a few words to know that someone cares, that someone's thinking about it, can mean the world to them, that they'll remember. They'll remember it for years. And it can just be an amazing blessing to know that someone out there is thinking of you. And that's why I really hope that everyone here will try to get involved in this project, because it's an amazing opportunity, and we don't know if they'll ever get this chance again.
thank you all for being here with us for this service today. We're going to close in prayer right now. Actually, I'll do that and then I'll tell you other stuff. Please bow with me. God, thank you for, you've heard my prayers today, God. Thank you for these students. Thank you for Stanford Elementary. Thank you for the church that I have the privilege of belonging to and serving. Father, help us not to miss these chances, not to miss these opportunities, not to assume that these chances and windows will stay open for us. But God, help us to seize these moments and to do your work, not when we feel like it, not when it's convenient, but now, when you've called us to do it. Amen. I mentioned at the beginning of this that the service would not be open when we left this room. And so right now I'm going to ask you, please walk along under the walkway here to the Fellowship Center. You'll be receiving instructions. We're putting together backpacks today filled with school supplies that the children of Stanford Elementary are going to have. Some of them can't afford school supplies, but they get to start their school year fresh with a backpack full of supplies. To be perfectly honest, I don't care that much about a child's educational future, but I care a great deal about us being able to meet needs that lets them know that we care about them. And so please keep in mind that this is not just about crayons and pencils, which are things they need and valuable. This is us telling them there's a church down the street that cares about you. There's a church down the street that loves you enough to meet this need for you. So thank you and God bless you. Amen.